And we're back. And Hailey, let's talk about what I think everybody's going to be really riveted by is our favorite paint projects of all time, right? Because what's more exciting?
I mean, we work in the paint industry.
Yeah.
We've done a lot of painting in our lives. I think it's interesting to reflect back and really point out the ones that have made the biggest impact.
Sure. And right. I do think that is important. I think it really sounds ridiculous,
It does.
but it is really cool. And for me, I've given it a little bit of thought. And yeah, easily my favorite project and favorite for the fun that I had doing it. Mm-hmm. The results were just so amazing. And then the end result, how we used the space afterward was every one of those were just top tier. It was so exciting. It was my basement repaint. I mean, of all things in the world. And
that makes sense, though.
Well, yeah, it was a really dungeony, kind of a dismal space.
It's like cinder block walls.
Cinder block walls. It was kind of dirty, scary. It was very dark, poorly lit. So part of the redo was, light bulbs in all the little fixtures where a light bulb could go.
Cleaning it.
Yeah, cleaning it. That was a big part of it. And in fact, that seemed to be really monumental to me in the beginning. I was not looking forward to that whole cleaning process.
Yeah.
But it was one of those things that whenever I get into a big project like that, I kind of start to become one with it as it goes. And it really starts to, I get really excited about it. And that cleaning, like I said, was so monumental to think about all the things I was going to have to do, the spider webs, the dirt, how am I going to get it flushed with water and get the water out? I didn't have a drain or a sump pump or anything like that. And so I ended up using shop vacs and stuff like that to pull the water up. And once I got going, I realized how much fun it was because I was seeing such great results.
Yes.
And once I got it literally clean and I had some dehumidifiers down there drying it up before I would get to the painting, it was so fun to just go down there and see a clean space.
Well, yeah, I mean, that already takes it to a level where you're comfortable being in that space because you know that it's clean now. Like there's just like a level of comfort that comes with that knowing. And like you said, it's a basement. So you got cobwebs everywhere that you're dealing with. It's just usually not a fun space to go into.
Right. And it was so great when it was clean. And then I went and I put a water-based paint on the floor. So concrete floor, I got that painted, got the walls painted, just the block walls. I went with a relatively inexpensive, I think Carefree, Repcolite's Carefree satin sheen. I went with something with some shine to it so that it would wash up or at least resist dust and dirt because I knew that was coming back. The spiders weren't eradicated from the home. But anyway, all of that cleaned up the space, brightened the space. It was unbelievable. Yeah. How big a difference from the cinder block gray to just an off-white on the walls. What a big difference that made.
It's not a light gray.
No.
We think about it maybe being a little bit light, but compared to paint colors, it's actually quite a medium or dark gray.
Yeah, it was a huge difference. And then the use of the space. It had been our laundry. Well, it was our laundry. All the time we were in that house, that was where our laundry was. That really helped that area feel better. But the big payoff was I gave the kids a playroom. They basically got half of the basement.
Cool.
We got shelves up and all of that. All their toys could go on the shelves. And the fun they had having a space like that.
Yeah.
They weren't getting yelled at for leaving their toys out all the time.
Right.
They could actually live in this space a little bit. They still had to clean it up from time to time. But they just loved having their own area that felt good and felt clean.
Cool.
They could see their stuff. Huge turnaround. And literally, I think the expense on that was under $150 easily.
Well, I mean, because it's just paint.
Yeah,
right?
just paint.
I mean,
tremendous difference. That was my favorite project, the project by which all my other projects
are judged by.
Yeah. And they all fall short compared to that one. Such a huge turnaround. What was yours? All-time favorite
much
paint project?
Smaller than yours. That I understand is you're getting a whole new space because of that paint. Mm-hmm. Mine's not the same. It's going to sound silly in comparison, but honestly, changing the back door, repainting the back door and making it nice because it was so scuffed when we moved into this house and it looked depressing. The door was a bummer.
No, so you went out and you bought a new door for this?
Yeah, so I got a door that matched the house.
Talk about that a minute because that was kind of cool too.
Yeah, and that was, I think that impacts the whole scenario as well. But originally the door was probably 1980s or 1990s. It had the frosted floral glass and I live in a 1920s house, so it does not match the house, right? Like,
Sure.
It's a stark contrast to the rest of everything that's been left in its original condition. And adding in a back door that matched the house. So I got a Craftsman door from a salvage company.
That in Kalamazoo, right?
Yep. And really fun to shop for a door, especially when you're paying so little for it.
Yeah.
I only spent $200 on the door. And normally these things are, you can spend thousands of dollars on a front or back door.
So you got this really cool door, you got it installed, and then you still are saying the painting of that really is what put it over the top. And it's a back door. How in the world can this have such a big impact?
Well, that's the door that I always come through. So I almost never use the front door. We're always entering the back door when we come home or leave. And so that was the first or last impression of the house every single day was that back door. And when it's depressing, it's amazing how much that actually affects your mood.
No, I think that is so cool. Just painting this entry door.
Yes.
And it's the back door, like you're saying. So it's the least impact curb appeal-wise. And yet for you personally, it sets the tone. Every time you get home,
there's
that
me
little
happy.
Yeah, just that little bit.
Yes.
No matter what your day was like working with me, you go home and there's at least that to kind of put you.
It's like, I don't know. It's the first impression. And it sets the tone for the rest of the house.
Well, I love the concept because, like you just said, it's the first impression, but it's not the first impression for a lot of your guests, really.
No,
It's your first impression.
Yes.
And that still matters. So often we talk about projects and we talk about getting the front door painted or whatever painted.
Yeah.
And we're a lot of the times talking about from the perspective of
curb appeal.
Other people. Yeah, their first impression of your home.
Yep.
This one, not so much that.
No.
And yet of all the projects you've done, you've painted your kitchen, you've done other things.
Yeah.
You still say this is one of the biggest.
Yes.
And with that said, think about that. $30, whatever, for a quart of paint.
Exactly. It's
and the time and the tools.
And it makes me happy every single day.
So your projects don't have to be massive to have huge impact. Paint can do a ton. And there's just two different projects that really made a lot of difference to us. Who knows what your next project is and what kind of difference it could make. Anyway, Hailey, that's all the time we've got. We're going to wrap it up. If you want to catch this one again, you can find it online at repcolite.com. Whatever you do today, make sure paint's a part of it. The Repcolite and Port City paint stores are open until 3, waiting to help. I'm Dan Hansen.
I'm Hailey Johnson. Thanks for listening.